Yeah, this happens around once a month, I guess. If you haven't heard about what has been transpiring in the gaming world, this is what you've missed out on. It was reported about yesterday where the Nintendo Switch 2 could be getting revealed on the 16th this month. Now, what does that have to do with the video's topic? Well, we do have to go to a familiar face in the RE community, let alone someone I'm not too fond of in terms of insider information. Dusk Golem. Now, before I get into his essay, I saw a video talking about this being leaks to RE0, which these are not leaks one bit. This is all speculation. Yeah, I know about a possible remake in development, and also other things as well. So here is some educated speculation, but it is speculation, on how I personally believe Resident Evil stuff is going to go down in the next couple years. So Screen Gems / Constantine Films have a contract that to retain the rights to the Resident Evil brand for filmmaking. They need to release a new Resident Evil film every 5 years fiscal. So the new Resident Evil film directed by Zach Krager that starts filming up pretty soon basically needs to release before fiscal year 2026 is up, since Welcome to Raccoon City released in 2021. It's been heavily rumored / leaked this film is an adaptation of Resident Evil 0, with Rebecca and Billy starring in it. The Switch successor is also on the cusp of being revealed, likely released this year. I think it's highly likely that Capcom will strike a marketing deal with Nintendo on their big reimagining of RE0. It should make a good entry point to the franchise, the quote-unquote beginning of the story, and a big-name AAA game to release in the Switch successor's launch year. I do think Zero will release on everything, either at once or eventually. However, I think there's not a better time to release RE0 Remake than now. They get to tie it with the series' 30th anniversary as the beginning of the saga, tie it with the live-action film that needs to release, and be a bigger new AAA release on the Switch successor in launch year. However, RE9 is also on the horizon, and I think Capcom wants to release it in 2026. This is fully up to Capcom, but I can see them possibly doing a 30-year anniversary celebration with RE9 and RE0 being beginning and ending of the saga for this era of RE, a theme of beginnings and endings, probably the live-action Constantine film, and I wouldn't be surprised by a CG film tied to RE9 to come into it as well. This function as a sort of 30-year anniversary celebration to the series, to see how Capcom decides to play it though. I'll leave a link to the thread in the description. But other than that, I want to talk about the things I want in an RE0 remake. You guys can discuss the rumors and all of that in the comment section if you please, because this game for me personally is the remake I want the most out of the remaining RE games. And without further ado, let's get into it. Resident Evil 0 is one of the more polarizing games of the RE franchise and is one of the more unique games as well. The features in the game were beyond interesting and made us approach the game a completely different way from the other RE games we played, mostly due to the fact that there was no item box, having to grab and drop items and possibly going all the way back to get them if they are far away. This is also the prequel to Resident Evil 1 as it takes place I believe a day before or hours within RE1. This is a list of things I would like to see happen if this game ended up getting a potential remake. Even though the odds are against the fact that it could get a remake, I ultimately want to drive discussions and whatnot. The first thing I would do is bring back the item box, but with a little bit of a twist. In RE2 Remake, you were able to save freely on assisted and standard difficulty, but when hardcore came, it felt like classic Resident Evil 2 with ink ribbons returning. I want something very similar with this involving the item box. Here's my take. I think for assisted and standard you should include an item box to make it easy for new players approaching this game, and for hardcore is where classic RE0 kicks in, and that is no item box at all, and having to pick up items and all that other bullshit. As much as people don't like that feature, I think you have to keep what made RE0 unique. Or you could also have a setting where you can use an item box and whatnot for either difficulty or whatever the case may be. Also, I'll quickly say bring back the old costumes in Wesker mode. Another thing I would do is bring back the strengths and weaknesses of Billy and Rebecca, from Billy not being able to combine herbs, which I know is stupid, but it was a challenge, and Rebecca not having much max health compared to Billy. Also, that Billy is just better at shooting, being someone that was formerly in the military. Hip pouches or inventory expansions are a must in this game. The fact that you only had 6 spaces, maybe add 2 or 4 more spaces to manage the inventory would be a lot more easier, even though we had Billy. But once you became him, it was hard to manage inventory. I remember in my first playthrough, I felt like I was way more worried about inventory more than the actual enemies in the game. And a lot of it does have to do with the hook shot, so yeah. I know the hookshot was really important to the game, but it was a huge clog in the inventory management. Speaking of the enemies, I want to talk about 2 specifically. Number 1 is the Leechman. The range those guys had was honestly insane. You can be about 10 yards away from them and they can hit you with ease. And the only way you can kill them fast is if you had Molotovs, and it took about 3. I would nerf the range the enemies had without a doubt. The Eliminators are next. Listen man, from my experience, I hated these little fuckers with a passion. They were essentially the lickers of Resident Evil 0, but they were quite hard to hit, and they could jump pretty damn far, which made it so annoying to kill them, and it took about 3 to 4 shotgun shells to kill one, and sometimes you deal with 3 of them in one area. Just nerf the health and limit the jumps because, trust me man, from my personal experience it was really bad. And yes, please make it third person because I don't want to deal with that bad with the fixed camera because it was absolutely terrible for that boss fight. James Marcus, on the other hand, is that just change up his opera. As much as I love Devils Never Cry, I don't need to hear him singing the opera part of that song or whatever. The train section of the game was the best part of it, so please Capcom, don't mess that up. And the Scorpion boss was pretty cool personally, so don't do anything too crazy with the train and drastically change things. I totally forgot to mention something when I was editing this video, and it was about the co-op part that's coming up next. You should be able to switch characters each time with your partner, but essentially doing it in save room so, you know, you guys have time to do a perfect switch and whatnot. Alright, that's it. Now you guys have been waiting for this because this is the highlight of what this potential remake can do, and that is obviously co-op. Imagine combining RE2 Remake and RE5 with the co-op feature and mechanics, and make that an RE0 Remake and the RE engine. It's a money printer. Co-op was one of the biggest reasons as to why technically RE5 is the most sold RE game of all time. And on just a base standpoint of base sales, excluding ports, RE2 Remake is the most sold RE game of all time. Imagine saying in an interview or showcase that you are combining elements from the 2 most sold RE games ever. Take my money immediately. Now with co-op, it's actually a little bit tricky. There are some parts in the game where Billy and Rebecca split up and have to fend for themselves. Example, Rebecca fighting and taking down a tyrant all by herself. How can you make it work? Do you change things up to the point where you are together taking down a tyrant, or you can't help your partner and can find other ways to help them? That definitely can be possible. It's just Capcom, if they remake this game, they can make it work. They did a lot of good things with RE4 Remake, so I'm sure Capcom can cook something up. They've remade games that were known as classics. Resident Evil 2 Original, 3 Original, and 4 Original, all deemed as great games. But Capcom has not taken the risk of remaking an RE game that can be redeemed as a remake. That's why there are certain people that want a remake of Code Veronica, and why I personally want a Zero remake as well. These two can benefit extremely well with the remake treatment, and I hope Capcom can take advantage of this. The only reason why people really don't want this remake is because, well, it's Resident Evil 0. It's not known as a classic compared to the previous 3 remakes, and let alone the remake of 1, which is known as the peak of survival horror and everything else. RE0 Remake can do something Capcom hasn't done at all yet, co-op survival horror, especially in the RE engine. We've seen many co-op games with 5 and 6 but were known as action shooter games. We saw some couch co-op with Revelations 2, but this is something Capcom can make some magic with. I fully am on board of a Resident Evil 0 remake, and I hope this video can convince you guys to be on the same train as me. I hope at least. Again, we all know this is all based on rumors and speculation, but the thought of this game for me has always been nothing but positivity. There's potential if this game gets released, or even revealed, and also do think but more so hope that the right dev team will be doing the work. Which one? I don't know. It's not a guarantee that we end up getting this game. This could be baseless false rumors that Dusk Golem is spreading. But if the Switch 2 ends up getting revealed in the next few days, which it most likely can be, then maybe something special can happen. I'm 100% down for a remake. It's just that I hope co-op is completely in this game. It's something I think Capcom should take advantage of, especially that we don't have a legit co-op game in the RE engine as of yet. This could be the first one, and like I said, I'm 100% down for it. Let me know what you guys think of my small wish list in the comment section down below, and let me know yours as well. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave a like and to hit that subscribe button as well to help this video reach into the YouTube algorithm. And as always, I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace out, and much love.